what was it that you did that enabled you to be able to complete this on time? And the person says to you, I really looked at what I needed to do, and I could see how much I could achieve, by getting it done, keeping a roll going. Okay, so now I really know something about how this person got this done. First of all, I know that the person's using the visual system. I can see that. I might use that. Then I might say, I can see that that's a good idea for you to sense that you can do this and keep a roll going. And I know myself what a great feeling it is to look back and sense that what I've achieved. Using that the next day. It's more really kind of really fitting the way this person actually motivates themselves. So basic predictions that can be made based on meta programs are, if you wanted to make predictions about this person's life, what would you say? What strategy would you use to get to know this person? What would you need to know to solve a problem? What would this person need to do to solve a problem? And how do they motivate themselves? These are the kinds of predictions that you can make based on understanding meta programs. So let's get into groups of three. That's on now, is it, Jen?
Yeah.
So let's get into groups of three now, and you'll pick a question, and you'll get maybe 3 questions out of this list, and it can be about playfulness, it can be about having accomplished something, or something that you believed in once but now you don't believe, or whatever. So you can find out the meta program that's there. Just one more thing before you do this. Let's just say, for instance, that you have a belief about something and it's really limiting.
It's really what?
Limiting. Okay. But you have a belief about something, and this belief is leading you to limitation. So then whilst I was with this person, I might ask, is there anything in your life that you've believed that all of a sudden you found out was just like bull dust? Person thinks and they go, oh yeah, right. And then they share, you get some information from that. More than likely there's a meta program there that's changing from belief to disbelief. So that now this person has a belief that's limiting, and that you want them to have this other belief, right? That you can use that person's meta program to go from belief to disbelief. Or vice versa, from disbelief to belief. What was something that you really didn't believe, you thought was just not true, and then turned out to be something that really was true. And how did you go through that? Finding out what the nitty-gritty is, how this person's using their senses, finding out the way they're sorting the information, then you can use that to fit something in. This is basically what we do inside our brain, actually. When we, sort through something ourselves, we're using things like this. Okay, so let's get into groups of 3 again. So you 3 together, 3 here, 3 here, and 3 here. Yeah. And I'm going to float around. So each of you will have the opportunity. Each of you will have the opportunity to ask. So A will be the person who's having all of this elicited. B will be the person who is eliciting these meta programs from A. C will be meta commenting, helping B work with A. Okay? And actually you'll want to write down some of this stuff, or you'll want to remember some of it anyway, because then we'll talk a little bit about what your meta programs are for various things. Can we? So, what kind of predictions did you come up with based on the meta programs? So, for instance, I'll ask a question: what is it that you would do really to get to know this person? So, for instance, if I was asked this group over here, how would you get to know Ken? Yeah, what kind of?
Get to know Ken, then come right up to Ken. Get right. Good to meet you. What's your name?
Allie was laying in the blanket with Ken.
Whatever happened over here here, these guys have figured out, things in fact that you would really want to be doing more is to get to know Ken.
Yeah.
I figured that it would involve a sense of closeness, a sense of contact, and a sense of equalness, because you were both right alongside him. Okay, so they're all meta programs actually. So it's possible that to get to know somebody, you may have to kind of, yes, some people are like that, aren't they, right?
Right.
Okay. Well, so you'd be sure to do those things to get to know Ken, right? All right. So what other things did you come up with?
You might want to give him some money too.
Receiving.
Receiving. Buying.
He likes receiving. Okay, excellent. He likes to be receiving things, okay.
Be receiving.
Okay, what other things did you get on others? Like, what other kinds of meta programs did you get?
Deanne likes to, she's motivated to help others.
Okay, so isn't that, I think that's really absolutely Dee's position in life. She's like there for her family incredibly, and she's on call, she has a little beeper there, and she's really... You can count on her to look after you. If you needed to be looked after, boy, I tell you, Dee, you could count on her. Absolutely. She would drop anything for herself, practically. Okay. So that's a meta program. It really is.
It's like you could call on her. Just call her and ask her for help. She's there.
Yes.
Yes. 4-5 D-N.
God.
And for her future's very abundant. When talking about the future, she was like, yes, there's a lot. I would do a lot.
A lot of future out there.
Okay, so what other kinds of meta programs did you have on D? Any others?
Really into the process of things.
Okay, so she's active rather than passive. Okay. Okay, so she's an active kind of person rather than kind of passive, and that's true too, I think. Dee likes to be involved in things, not so much passive. Okay. Any other meta programs? I mean, there must have been many. These are just a few that you just picked up.
She likes outdoor.
She's an outdoor person.
Yeah,
How did you get that? How did you get that meta program from her?
She said,
What did you ask her?
well, I don't remember what
She
the
was
question
talking about the future and planning this.
What she like?
Create.
What she was?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Space.
All right. Okay. So the question was, what is it that you wanted or something?
What does
Be doing in the future?
Yeah.
And we came up with some things that were to do with being outdoors, kind of an outdoor person, more or less. As a meta program, I think that's probably true as well. Another meta program. Okay. Any others?
Having her environment really mixed. It's like having a building with a courtyard in the middle, so that whenever you go out the door, you're going outside. Whether it's into the center of the courtyard or the outside of it.
Okay.
Her environment is very intermixing.
Okay. Alright. That would be for sure about someone who has a program to be outside, that they would be inside and yet have a feeling of being outside, and trying to do that inside. I think that's wonderful. Okay. So it's about a meta program about being outside. Alright. Alright, what kind of, now if you wanted to get to know Allie, what sort of things would you... No, here's another question. What does Allie dislike about people? Did you ask her that question?
Yep. Yeah.
She dislikes a person that constantly is talking and doesn't give you a chance to speak and just runs their raft, and when you say something, it's like they didn't hear.
Okay, so isn't that excellent? Okay, so now the meta program that Dee picked up from Allie was that most of the time when you were sort of talking about the person that she didn't like, okay, most of the movements were to the left, and that was the way that Allie did it, right? Her movements were to the left. The other thing was that Dee was talking about what this person would have said, and it was actually all about discussion. So we know that dislike and people for Allie has something to do with what the person says, actually, mostly. What's another meta program? When we asked Ali that question, what was something else that occurred? It was difficult for her, wasn't it?
Oh yeah.
She really had to think about it.
Yeah, it wasn't like there was too many people she doesn't like. She couldn't even specify a person that she didn't like. It was a type of person. It took her a while to come up with that.
Okay, so what is the meta program that we know from that?
She likes people.
She likes people, right? She's a people person.
Yeah, she's a
Okay. Because what happens when you go up to somebody and you ask them this and then they just have this whole list, right? You'll definitely be able to hire that person. No. It's possible to work with that person. I don't know, Penny.
Got a lot of time.
Alright, what about over here? Down the back here? Things you got on people.
We didn't do that section. We only did questions.
Okay, that's okay. Whatever questions you got to. Each person was only asked about 3 questions, no? So, what about some of the things over here?
We for Dave, we were talking. He kept getting up and moving and running away, and I thought it was interesting. This is one of the first things that we had done together, which I wanted to do to know his strategy, for him to know mine. And we had the most difficult time getting him to come do it. He was always getting up, doing this, running around, sitting down. So I got the note that he moves away from pain, but or uncomfortableness. It was interesting because I usually see him working in groups and he's very into what's going on, and I could see him keep trying to. Didn't you notice that? He keep trying to diffuse the group, disassociate.
Okay, so what I would say about that is that Dave probably has a meta program of wanting to see the larger picture, and his body literally, he feels like he needs to kind of get up and kind of shift and move a little bit, right? And actually, that when he does this, it's truly he's able to see the big picture. So his body's led him to sometimes dissociate, and this has been a strategy, I'm sure, in collecting information. That he does sometimes get the information from outside and bring it to people on the inside.
Well, he left the room 3 times.
Okay.
Which I thought was interesting.
If you see something happening twice, by the way, you can know for sure that it's a pattern, okay?
Yeah, I definitely picked up a pattern. And he was very internally referenced. We talked about that him and
How did you know he was internally referenced?
everything that he said related to how he felt about it or what effect he wanted.
Would you say that's true of Dave and Mike?
Yes.
I absolutely think that's true, yes. He's internally referenced.
He's also very active. He sees himself moving towards things.
So he's not a passive person, not much at all, kind of like really active. I would say that's true. That's probably true mostly of everybody here, actually.
And he operates out of necessity. That's one of his programs.
Okay, so did you catch that? How did you get that from Dave?
He felt that you had to do certain things to get certain places or get a certain result.
Okay, so there may have been some modal operators of necessity there. I should do this, I can't, or I won't, or I have to.
Condition. And he definitely sorts by content. And
He's a content sorter. See, now he really got involved with meta programs. That's quite good.
And then I also took the notes for Richard. Richard was, felt like that he in the past had been external referencer and was moving very quickly to being internally referenced almost completely. And that he tends to soar away from things. And that he sorts out of necessity. And I noticed with him talking today that he had, Dave was really good because he was very visual when he started the class, and now he told me in the beginning he wanted to work towards being a KAD. And during every discussion, Richard and I both picked up that he had become kinesthetic first. And with Richard today, he expressed that he was feeling kind of out of sorts. And so I noticed that he was auditory kinesthetic and visual, like wanting to speak, relate to himself and how he felt instead of to others. So that was kind of interesting because usually he's in the leader, and I thought that was kind of excellent. I liked it. And Richard seemed to be a content sorter also, but he used a lot of factual instead of
Details about
yeah.
place and what was there and people that were there and things that happened. Okay, that's a content sorter. Yeah.
Notice that when Dave was a large part of his accessing was from auditory memory back to auditory construct, back and forth. And at one point he stopped that and moved his head back and forth.
Yes. Yes, and so the strategy involved Dave's ability to put language to something, and so he really was using auditory memory and auditory construct. We saw his eyes going this way and also then his head too, from side to side. So it was majorly he was involving the auditory components of his brain to get the answers. Okay. All right. That was very good, Terry. That was really excellent. Really, yes, very good.
You want my past lives? I used to be a dollar back up Instant Chevrolet.
All right.
It doesn't make
Yeah. Okay.
sorting for me.
All right. Okay. So what about in this corner over here?
And in this corner over here.
We say this stuff.
One of our partners left.
Okay. So share something with us. Let's share something with us about what we got on Carol.
Yeah.
Yeah, just
I think it'd be more kinesthetic.
in feelings, right? Involving feelings. Okay. What else? What were other things? What else did we get on her, Libby? Like changing belief to doubt. What was some of the important submodalities? Temperature. As far as her feeling senses was concerned, when we asked Carol what was something that she believed, and then she doubted, and then she found out that it was like baloney or something. So when she was believing, there's a feeling of warmth inside, and then when it turns to doubt, this feeling of warmth becomes colder. And what else was there? There was also too, when belief was there was a sense of fullness. And then when belief was turned to doubt, it was like something was let down. That was the words that were used. So I know that to go from belief to doubt, it would be very important that I was able to elicit that temperature change. So let's just say now that there's something that Carol has believed for a little while that's been a limiting belief. And now she's kind of sensing, I want to be moved through that. So literally, by being with the person, you can talk about, you can mention something and then talk about something and actually the colour of it's blue. See, which is a cool colour. You can really do this, you can really weave. The main thing is that you notice what the submodalities are actually of turning belief to doubt. And then you have the ability to do this with something, in fact, that's limiting belief. Whilst I was sitting there next to Carol, I was asking her these questions, and it was just kind of, my leg was just anchoring it, in fact, on her left leg, turning something that was a belief kind of into doubt. And so then when I asked her, well, think of something that's kind of been a little bit of a limiting belief that you had. And so whilst the person was thinking about some things that actually was a belief that's been limiting, and you just fire off that anchor again, it's taking the person, directly into their strategy for turning belief into doubt. Okay?
Pretty tricky.
All right. So that was some of the meta programs that we found. Anything else? What about for Libby?
For Libby, we found that she tended to be motivated by learning. That was the approach that, and her approach was mainly pleasure-seeking.
Pleasure-seeking, right? Okay. Okay. Actually, just going back the other way, what else did we get? What else did we get on Carol? Like when we said, well, how do you motivate others? Well, was it 2 things that she came up with for motivating others? She frames if I was sitting in the class listening to Carol and she was wanting to convince people of something, here's the first thing that I know she'll be doing. She is speaking about what the advantage is to this approach. That's the very first thing she does. The other thing that she's doing, right, is she's bringing models who've been where we are and now they're somewhere else, right, and they've achieved success. So that's another thing that she does. She talks about people who've moved through something to gain something. So now these are 2 meta programs majorly. I'll bet that Carol uses these, when she's convincing people to move through something. Okay. Was there anything else? Did we get anything on Libby? Anything else on Libby?
More visually.
Visually, yes, Okay, so now another thing that you can do is you can ask a person, well, think of a moment in the past where you really wanted to do something and kind of got stuck. And the person thinks about something and you find out what the submodalities of that are. And then find out what is it that you do when you have been successful. What is it that you've done when you're feeling successful? And then find out how the person's using their senses. More than likely, there really is a difference between the way the person's using their senses when they're successful and the way the person's using their senses, when things are not so working out. And if they apply the way they're using their senses when they're successful to this context, it's more likely, in fact, that they fit into, a vehicle that can transport them where they want to go, where you want to go. Okay. All right. What about down here? Here's rabble. Who did Penny?
We all did.
Excellent. All right, what have we got on Penny?
Penny has a major sort for self and other. She, not necessarily even more than one or the other, just that's the way she kind of lines up reality as what's for her, what's for others. For her.
Penny absolutely is internally referenced. There's no question about it. She really is internally referenced. Quite incredible. She does have some external reference, and everybody does, but just generally I sense that she's internally referenced. An internally referenced person is a self-motivated person. You can count on this person. You can leave them to their own resources, and they'll get the job done. They don't need to be told what to do. Matter of fact, if you tried to tell the person what to do, you'd have to be a little careful. Okay. So what else on?
We elicited her hierarchy of beliefs, and one of the very first ones and what she valued was people who sort for others, who have a care for what's happening with other people.
Okay, so very good. That's wonderful. So she has a program of sorting the value of people around her, and she looks at what value this person has for the others around them, and this is one criteria that she's placing as far as valuing people is concerned. I probably would say that's a major criteria, in fact, in the way that you look and how people relate. You relate to them. Okay, so that's a meta program. So if you were introducing someone to Penny, how would you use that information?
Well, when you're introducing someone to Penny?
Yes, how would you use that information now that you know that about Penny? How could you use that,
You could have them let them know externally referenced to focus attention on her.
Let's just say that I'm introducing somebody. Yeah, that's what I would do. Let's say that I was introducing someone. Excuse me, go ahead.
I could introduce Allie to Penny. I could tell Penny, well, Alice is doing this for other people. And she really is.
Say some things.
Well, Alice is involved in a program now where she's going out and helping the elderly to learn yoga and doing all these other things. So they would be. I know that she does. Penny values this, so she would be more likely to appreciate this.
So let's just say that Penny hasn't met Ken, all right, and I'm introducing Ken to Penny. I for sure, now that I know this about Penny, I would say, Ken's really wonderful with people. He really is excellent with his hands. Majorly what he's doing is he's massaging and he's using his hands to create wellness for people, moving energy through. He's very sensitive. The most amazing things he's done around here, during this course, I've seen him out there doing things and working and stuff, and he's really often thinking, what can he do for others actually, So, and I'll be just talking about Ken and be sure to fit some things in like that. Would be hitting home for Penny actually. Okay.
What about, would it be true that Penny would also like somebody who is like herself and internally referenced?
Well, you see, you can still be internally referenced, right? Have an internal reference and be sorting for others. That's different.
Yeah, this is nice to clear this one up. Sometimes people...
Okay, so there's a difference between reference, internally referenced or externally referenced, and internal orientation and external orientation. Okay, that's the first thing. Internal reference is meaning where is the material actually coming from? Is it being referenced from something that's coming from within you, or is the reference point coming from somebody outside? Okay? Now, if somebody is externally orientated, it's meaning that they are visually aware of what's happening on the outside. If somebody was internally orientated, it would mean that they're drawing information from visual pictures inside. Their orientation is internal. Okay? And now, what was the one that we came to?
Sorting for self, sorting for others.
Okay, sorting for self. Now, let's just say somebody's sorting for others. They're always trying to figure out what's good for Richard, in what he's doing or something or other, okay? And I'm thinking what it is really that's good for Richard. And I'm thinking about what it is really that's good for Richard based on what I'm understanding as being good for myself. So what would you say is occurring there?
That your internal reference and
sorting for others. Right.
Based on your...
Now, what happens when somebody is externally referenced and sorting for others?
Oh, sounds like it's not grounded at all.
Oh, no. External reference could be value. This could be... This person may really be qualified.
Aren't they motivated by what other people think? They could be very empathetic.
Yes. In other words, the Pope said that they're sorting for others, okay, and they have an external reference. The Pope said that the Pope has said that he and the Catholic Church thinks that there should be really some sense about the use of contraception. Okay, so now that's an external reference and it's sorting for others. If you ask the person, they might have have something else for themselves. But the main thing is that was external reference and also sorting for others. Okay? Alright. What else? What else did we get on Penny? Anything else?
She has whatever sort it is where you have hierarchy of values. She has a hierarchy of values that people that are easy to get along with and let people be themselves. This is of high value. Somebody that allows another person to be themselves, that's considered of high value. Somebody that she can feel comfortable with is somebody that...
Excellent. In other words, Penny has a value for allowing others to be. And I think that's excellent value to have. Really excellent. I think that's sometimes the hardest thing people can do. And I think sometimes it's really a good idea, really to allow others to be supportive, Yeah. Okay. What about Ned? Who did Ned?
Ned doesn't sort.
Ned sort of kind of...
All right, what was it? Some questions that you asked Ned?
I got Ned sorts for content.
Okay, Ned's a content sorter.
Content sorter.
Yes, okay, what else? Is he toward, away, passive, active?
We got We got a sort that's not in here, but then we got a sort that he sorts for things that have to do with his business life. If you ask him for something, he sorts it in the category of business more than personal. I don't know what that would be.
Give us an example of a question that Ned would do that to.
What is success?
Did you ask him about sex? And he goes and takes it to, what was that?
He was about his business success, about his professional, more than like family or personal achievement or something. He might, like a racing one or something like that.
So you asked about success and Ned went to a business success. Okay. So the main thing that we would know about that simply is Ned has a meta program at the moment that's orientation around business, and that success at the moment somewhat is really being successful in business. He probably does feel successful somewhat, in family, and but mostly if you ask a man what his criteria is of value, most men generally will come to family first, and society generally is expecting this of man as well, and I think it's pretty good. I think that's a good one, that the man be concerned first truly about family, and about things working well, in the family, before they are focused on things happening out there. But because somebody's focused on something out there doesn't mean that they're not focused on family.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's not a concern.
Right, yes.
The sense of success is there. If that's a concern, then it's something you're focusing on. But what you're focusing on is where the concern is.
Yes, however, you see, that's true. The one thing about this is, does there have to be concern? Because you could be looking at business and family, and the question, that was asked of me, give us an example of a moment in the past when you've been successful. And I'm free enough to focus on a situation that's happened in the family context. You would really know something about me as a person if I did that. And so anything that I would say, you would know something about me as a person. What's my concern in life, actually, if you're figuring that out a little. Okay. All right, other things. Let's see if we can keep this to learning as we wrap this up now. What other kinds of predictions can you make now about the people that you're with? In asking them a question, what other meta programs did you glean from the person? Who did Jenny? Okay, so what was the question?
Kind of an in, out.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. A good, bad, kind of a weighing of things, maybe? Going toward, or it's like a kind of a...
Okay, so one thing that was happening, was it, as a meta program, was that Jenny was valuing. Valuing? Okay, that's a meta program.
Yep.
That's absolutely a meta program, right? Valuing.
And we asked a question about...
I agree, I think this is a meta program of Jenny's, by the way.
What is it that... you found exciting or something? How did you...
What was the question? What is something that constitutes success? Or
Believe in the past.
What did you believe? What something that you believed
Used to believe in that you know,
She used to believe that she had to go outside for stimulation and like to mingle with lots of people, be out there.
Yes.
The past.
And now she's coming also to a balance of inside.
Okay. Okay, so there was a belief about being out. See, now this is all about being internal, external. Okay, so that's a meta program of being internal, external. Okay, and actually that's again the one that you talked about at the very beginning of asking the question. You said internal, external. You were doing that. Okay. Any others?
I think that was the main one that came up.
Okay, internal, external is probably quite a sort. Jenny has in life, somewhat internal, external. Okay, what about Johnny?
Johnny was good,
good, bad.
Good, bad. Okay, so again, valuing things, the value of something. Okay, valuing things. Anything else?
Judging too.
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
And play was good, far away.
Okay. Okay, so at the moment we know that part as far as playfulness is that there has been a meta program of away from a little. And I agree, I think that's true. But John is really being used to really being a party animal, right? Actually, when I first knew John, he really kind of was a bit of a party animal, but he was conservative. Okay? But he's gone through this phase where over the last year, he's become more and more conservative.
That's exactly what
until like I've been here for a day or two and then he starts to like let loose a bit, you know? But mostly he's very conservative, you know, when I first arrived. But then he, you know.
But we also saw a sort that Johnny had is in some way he had linked up play with value. If play was good, if there was what was it? There was
Right, and it some time and value.
Yeah, time and value. Yeah, that time and money and playfuls, all these things. I guess that's valuing again. Like, well, if I go play, is it going to be valuable?
Okay, so it's time sorting. Yeah, it's involving time as well. How much time do we have for this, you know? And is this valuable, you know? Is this going to lead us to getting what we need? You know? Okay, so needs and wants was there as well.
Needs and wants.
Right, was also there. Anything else on Johnny?
Well, you coupled excess money with relaxation.
Money?
No money. It's not as easy to relax.
Right.
Okay, so... Yes,
Isn't
so...
that needs and wants kind of tied in with that?
Yes, it's all, yeah, right, it is. So what we know at the moment, these are meta programs that's happening for John. So we just asked something about playfulness, right, and we got all this stuff. For sure we know this is things, in fact, as far as program sorts that's happening, you know, at the moment. Okay. Now some of these really have value, leading the person to be focused on what they are in need of, you know, at the time, and sometimes it can get out of hand as well, right? When they're trying to apply that principle of money or something in a situation where it might not be lending itself. Okay. So the main thing is that this enables you to be able to predict how someone will react to something. And it enables you to be able to understand how someone goes about making a decision that you can model the way that this person makes decisions in your presentation style. When you present something to the person, it's highly likely that it's really going to fit in. It's more likely that it's going to fit in, okay? Okay. If you haven't done the assignments, then I really recommend that you look at the assignments tonight, and that you understand the assignment on congruency and what's occurring there, so as you're knowing now. After we talk about this tomorrow, for sure you'll know it. You'll know when somebody's congruent, how you determine that, the degree of congruency. So that you are knowing that yourself. So in anything that you're doing in life, you have the ability to be congruent. The exercises was what, Johnny? What was it? 5 through 10, was it?
You said do 7, 8, 9 tonight, didn't you?
No, I bet it said 1 of them. 5, 8, 9.
Okay. Okay, so 8 and 9 definitely was there. 5 was there.
1 was there.
4 was there as well.
4, 5,
Okay.
8, 9.
So it's 4, 5, 8, and 9. That's right. Okay. You'll want to familiarise yourself, and I'm sure that just with the information that you have, you could easily answer those without having actually to even go into it, right? But go into it a little bit and have one at least that you really can speak about with learning for the people that are listening, you know, on this tape. Okay, thank you. That was it? That's it.
That was it.